is the perfect storm. Remember that I have been saying this for almost 10 years now, the perfect storm. What it means is we've had all of these problems before. We've stared down fascism, economic depression, loss of faith, loss of our children, loss of education, whatever. We've had all of these problems as individuals. But we as a country have never faced all of them at once. Many experts find security in the fact that no one can take down the global economy. And they are right. No one person can take down the global economy. But we as a globe are doing a good job. And it's not just me saying this anymore. The perfect storm is here. Here's one sign of where we are. The 5-day Davos Forum just came to a close, and the consensus was big trouble is coming very soon. Quote, 2013 could be a perfect storm where you have a full Eurozone crisis, where the fiscal problems of the United States come to a head, and there is an investment bust, and you have a hard landing in China as well. How about this one? I feel we'll be back here next year, and the hole will be that much deeper. Or this one, you will see a radicalization in politics, the potential for unraveling, not just of the euro, but the political structures which underpin the European Union. It is really quite real. Or this, the Eurozone is in a slow-motion train wreck. Not only Greece, but the other countries are insolvent. America and the EU and China were all in financial ruin. And the threat of war building with Iran and unrest continues all around the Middle East, Europe, and in our own streets. When you have people in Europe and in the Middle East and here in America, and they're all pretty much shouting the same thing, just in a different language. Let's just use what they were shouting in Oakland this weekend. Kill the cops, kill the cops, kill the cops. How do you think that's going to work out? Especially when you don't have anybody on the higher-ups that will do anything about it. They're using it. And when the rest of the society is like, yeah, kill the cops, whatever. Here, have a lollipop. We're fine. We're on the way to Disney World. No, we're not. My stance on buying gold has been pretty clear. I have said that China would start buying up the metals. I've said that for years. They've been buying up everything they can get. But now, first, watch what I've said.
China is already divesting themselves of all of their dollars. They're getting rid of all of their dollars, and what they're doing is they're going out and they're buying mines, they're buying minerals, they're buying precious metals.
Okay. This is 2009. Let me give you the latest news today. Now China is buying record amounts of gold. They have bought approximately 490 tons of gold in just the last few months, double what they did in 2011. Why? Well, the People's Bank of China, their central bank, the ones that are really, helping buy all of our debt, they're doing most of the buying. And they say, quote, no asset is safe now. The only choice to hedge risks is to hold hard currency, gold. This is huge. When China says, got to get out of the dollar, they see what's coming. And they're getting out while they can. Are we as a nation? No. No, we're not. We're digging ourselves deeper. Are you as an individual? I have also warned many times that we are following the same path as Europe and the UK. Here I am. As I'm watching Europe, I'm pleading with you, watch it, because what's happening in Europe is coming our way. Okay, I'm pleading with Americans, please. We used to think, our politicians, the left, Europe, used to think it was a good thing. Look, America, they're becoming more European. Watch the State of the Union. And they're watching it, and they're like, what are you guys thinking? What are you doing? We've tried that. In case you haven't noticed, we're collapsing, is what they're thinking. Well, an American-born woman who's lived in the UK for nearly half a century just wrote a harsh reality check in the London Telegraph. Here it is. Barack Obama is trying to make the U.S. more of a socialist state. Listening to the President's State of the Union message last week was surreal. To visit our own recent past, there were almost word for word all those interminable Gordon Brown budgets that preached fairness while listing new endless ways in which the central government could intervene in every form of economic activity, to which we who come from the future can only shout, "No, go back, don't go down this road." Yet we continue, full speed ahead. Why? It's not reckless, it is intentional. Did I say that out loud? Yes, I did. Good. Another prediction, the dollar's day as the world currency are numbered. Here's what I've said.
Mark my words. Mark my words. The dollar will at some point be a thing of the past, or at least as we understand it, it'll be a basket of currencies.
I said this, my friends said, Glenn, that's never going to happen. Well, today, a telling maneuver happening on the brink of more sanctions on Iran, which is yet another prediction of ours. They're sanctions because they wouldn't come clean on their nuke program, but China has said they're going to ignore the sanctions and China will keep importing oil from Iran. Now, India, who usually buys all of its oil from Iran with dollars, is siding with China, and they say they are going to ditch the dollar and start buying oil from Iran with the rupee. What is that going to do? We've talked about the importance of food storage. You want things to be really bad? Let people go hungry, right?
We are facing a global food crisis that we have never seen before.
That's 2008. I have been mocked for just think, people, think about how dependent you are on others for your food. And then when they do think, if they do think, suddenly it's not so funny, like it's not now to the people in Mexico. They're not laughing about it today in Mexico. Severe drought plus a rare cold snap has now crushed the farming industry there, and it has triggered a food crisis that could last up to 5 months when the rainy season really starts up. Well, will that cause any more tension on the border? Yeah, if it gets bad. If it gets bad. European fall, this I told you on Fox, European fall, civil unrest, default, then the collapse of Europe. Riots are joined by the Islamic extremists in civil war. That's after the Arab Spring. War and revolution spread. Caliphate gathers with Turkey at the center. Israel the focus of hate. Pressure extends to Europe and America. All these have happened except for the Turkey at the center for so far. They're talking about the caliphate. All this is done with an exception of this being bold enough for people like William Crystal to see it. This, civil unrest, happening. Default, on its way. Collapse, end of the Europe. That's what they're saying in Davos. Riots joined by the Islamic extremists. It will happen. War and civil war. Then over here, we have the American Spring. This is what's coming. Networks and the framework completed. That's why they're doing all of these crazy things in Congress now. This is why they're putting things together. And you're like, wait, what? Why are you scooping things up? Because they have to complete the framework. This is why Google and everything else is all starting to change. They're completing the networks and the framework. Then all of the pressure points are going to be hit. Well, they already are. You know what this is? Here's a pressure point for you. Nobody can figure out why the president would take on the Catholics and the Catholic Church. Why would he do that, right, in election? Oh, because this is their goal. Not to win an election. This is their goal. Hit all of the pressure points. The poverty push. Discourage people. You can't do it. You need a handout. That's happening. The economic hardship, and then eventually collapse. It's coming. Riots are already here, and this is coming as well. I'm not somebody who's I'm not Kreskin, and I don't have a Ouija board. I can't see the future. I just read the news like every other Joe out there. The only difference is I've turned off my internal screensaver, and I start thinking about things that I don't want to think about. You probably have done that as well. But the rest of America has turned into a bunch of iPod-wearing zombies lost in their own world on their way to Venezuela. I mean, think of this. How many times have you seen the minivan trucking along with the angry teenager in the back with the headphones on? Or the kids in the back of an SUV and they have the TVs on and they're watching TVs, and sometimes 2 different movies. That's a problem. When I was a kid, when we got into the car to go on vacation, we didn't get a choice of our music. We used to listen to Perry Como. Kill me. And then we would listen to our parents talk. It's how we learned where we came from. Our culture today is what's happening in our car. Our kids have disconnected from reality. And they go to the iPod or they go to the TV at the expense of the family. They don't talk to each other. They don't pay attention to the beauty or the horror that is just outside of the window. When the headphones are on, you don't hear GPS screaming at you saying this.
When possible, please make a legal U-turn.
Got it? Make a turn. When possible, make a legal U-turn. When possible, we need to make a legal U-turn and turn around. My gut tells me the legal U-turn that is coming, that is possible, is not the election. Because the election is only going to switch drivers. We'll get a new one, and he might slow down, but he's not going to turn the car around. Your safest turning point, you will see, is coming this summer. And it's going to be a hard one to explain to people, but I ask you to trust me because it is a U-turn and heads away from Venezuela and back up into the United States of America. Back in a second.